All right, KMR, Kyle Mohan Racing, KMR Rotary. We're back, and we're talking BRAP. And a question I have gotten in the past is, can you make a 13B into a 20B? Or even more generically, can you use 13B components in a 20B? And I have covered a little bit of this in the past, and quite often the answer is yes. This was a unique project that we just had come through the shop, and what a customer had acquired was a brand new thick cast iron 20B plate. Very rare, very cool. But he needed to build a block around that. He was able to source two 13B Cosmo plates, which would have proper runner size, proper flow dynamic, but not all of the same bolt pattern structure as the thick plate or the front plate. And since the front plates are discontinued, that one was becoming even harder to find, and we opted to use a 13B FD3S plate, which the runner height is taller, but it's going to have this ported down and matched to the rest of the Cosmo style intake. So the accumulation of this block is that really the only hard component we have right here in front of us from a 20B is this factory thick iron. The other components to create this block, including potentially the rotor housings, can be 13B based. Obviously you would need your shaft and your center carrier gear and bearing setup, fairly rare, but just to answer the age-old question of, can you make 13B parts work? Can you use 13B block components in a 20B? The answer is yes, but it does take machine work. We had to take and essentially match this block to factory specs, adding in the two long bolts that are oversized, the 12 millimeter factory bolts from the back. And then on the front FD3S plate, which I covered in that previous video, we went ahead and opened up all the 20B through holes and added the oversized tension bolt holes that come through the front that hold the front rotor chamber and housing together to the center plate. Just as from the back, you've got your 13B section back here with two rotors. So it's kind of a unique configuration, but basically we were able to modify these Cosmo components and this FD component to work with a brand new factory 20B center plate. Now, one thing to note is there are some different bolt configurations out there. So Mazda, within these 20B blocks, had 2 or 3 different OEM bolt configurations, meaning whether or not they had factory oversized tension bolts or not. The earlier blocks all had 2 oversized through the back that go to the front plate, and then the 2 that hold the front plate on are oversized as well. But I have seen variations as the block got later to where the pass-through bolts from the back were actually 13B sized, not a larger 12 millimeter, but a OEM 10 millimeter size. So there's variations out there. I think within the A, B, C, D, E codes, there were at least 2 variations, if not 3 that I know of. But with machining and with proper bolt pattern schematics, it really doesn't matter which generation you have. We could sub in a part, match a part, or update or backdate a part. At this point, I think we've done enough of these 20Bs that we've seen the majority of the configurations that Mazda had to offer out there. And I thought this was a great opportunity to show what can be done. You know, if you're trying to build a 20B block and maybe you're going, man, I cannot find one of these OEM used blocks, you know, super hard to find, 20-year-old motors from the Cosmos, not available in the US. One way to go is get yourself a Cosmo 13B or even a US spec FD3S 13B, get yourself a thick plate, a shaft, and a bearing, and we can basically build from there. Kind of a cheater 3-rotor. Still all factory, still all proper flow dynamic, port shape, everything. just as strong, if not stronger, than what the factory made originally. But just doing it a different way, not building off of a core block, but simply building off of core components. I think that's a wrap. If you've got questions or you need something like this done, let us know. KMR. I'm out of here. That's a wrap. Get back to work. Got things to do.